All right, we'll talk about the absolute value. What is it? What are the things involved? What should we bear in mind as we'll be solving questions involving absolute value? All right, without even wasting our time, shall we start? So, um, on a number line, um, on a number line like this, all right. So we have some points there, okay, and other stuff. So on a number line there, let's say this is our 0, all right. Let's say this is our 2, this is our 4, this is our 6, this is also our -2, this is our whatever number on a number line is called a real number, all right. So those numbers are there, right? So the distance from 0 to, let's say, going to the left or to the right, all right. So the distance from from 0 to end point on a number line, that distance, I'm talking about distance, is what we call now absolute what? Absolute value. So it's a value given on a number line. So this value, since it's a distance, we can't report a distance in negative form. So we report a distance in what? Positive form. So a distance will be always what? Positive something there. Okay. So that's the whole idea of absolute. That's the meaning. So it's just a value on a number line starting from 0. So it can be this side or this side, but it should give you a what? A distance. That's the what? The value that we're interested in. So this distance, let's say I label it A, all right? All right. So I'll label it A. So this distance A, it will be always presented by A, like I said. Now the absolute thing or presentation of absolute will be in A, like that. All right, inside the what? These i's, which now we are calling them as what? Absolute. So these two, they make up what we call absolute. All right. So since our A now, our that value of from our number line is now called absolute like this. All right, so what should we do then? So for n value on a number line, here on the number line, so for n value of this absolute A we have here, all right, it should be always presented, it should be, if I have absolute of something here, all right, I should always have what? Now let's get to understand. Okay, so for each value of absolute value, all right, for each value, all right, on a number line here, so the going this side is what? Going this side is actually the value of A that we are from talking about. This value of A, all right, is, so on this side the value of A is always what? Less than what? 0. This side the value of A is always greater than or equal to what? To 0, right? So now we define absolute value as, if given absolute value of a number, all right, it should give us what? Let me write these sets. It should give us that value, all right, A, if it is found on what? On our right side. That's now if, okay, so always if, meaning that it will give us a positive this side the what? A negative, because it's a negative this side is a positive. So the absolute value of A, if it should give us A, the absolute value of A, it should give us what? A, if A is greater than or equal to 0. Again, the same absolute value of A, it should give us negative A if we have just the A less than what? 0. And this is true. We'll be getting numbers that are less than 0 if we are on this side. Alright? And if we are on this side, we will get numbers that are what? Greater than what? 0 or just equal to 0. So this is the meaning of absolute value, guys. And just a presentation to say you always be getting a negative or a positive number, so it depends. So you'll be given questions and you don't know where they got the absolute thing. All right, so that's the concept about absolute values. All right, So now let's see some examples of absolute values. Okay, and you are going to understand how we'll be solving. After this, go and solve a lot of tutorial sheets concerning absolute value. One question might come and we'll get to solve the tutorial sheets together. All right. Okay, suppose I give you to say find the absolute value. You're just using the definition I'm from giving, or just given a question to say this is, let's say, negative as absolute value of 7. What should you get? All right. So absolute value simply means the number inside there should at least be positive. All right. It can be negative or positive, but you need to report as what? Negative. Okay, I mean positive. That's the meaning there. So it can be negative since we are reporting something as distance. All right. So a distance, even if it was, so this absolute value is there to tell us that the answer that we should report should be positive where positive. I mean where possible. All right. So the distance, you said it's just the distance. So meaning it's the distance, we don't have what to have the what the negative stuff. All right. So we are trying to avoid the negative thing. That's the whole idea of um, this absolute value thing. Okay, so now we start. Let's say I give you to say find the absolute value of the following. So negative 7 like that. Then I give you now negative 4 inside there. All right, absolute. So here I give you negative absolute of what? 0. Here I give you absolute of what? Absolute of, let's say, negative half. Okay. So suppose you are given like this. So what you do is using the definition to say that number is the distance. So since we have absolute value of this one reported in this one, the answer should be what? The same. So if you have absolute value of A, your answer should be what? A. You are interested in the distance. We said this is distance, guys. So if it is distance, you just report the same 7 like that. You are done. So here it is distance. So we are just saying it's distance, right? So this number, it can be negative or positive. All right, it can be negative or positive on a number line. All right. Okay, like that. So since it is showing a negative, we will go with a negative stuff. So it is plus or minus. So absolute value is a plus or minus. All right. So what you do is now, since you have negative inside, you are not interested with a negative with given a independent number like this case. Okay, you always report as positive unless if it is equated to some numbers. So you give positive like that. We are reporting as distance, guys, remember. So this is 0 as well. So reporting 0 as a distance will just be 0 again. Okay, so what if now we have negative 1 over 2? So we are reporting number. This is the distance now to say. All right. So this is the distance. Should we report to say it's now the distance? We don't know the units, but should we report the distance to say it's negative 1/2? No, we remove the what? The negative inside there. So just light half like that. So this, you only do this to numbers that what? That are independent, like there's no value of x inside something like these numbers which are just independent. You do this, but we'll get to understand some scenarios. All right, so that's about absolute value. Suppose now you are given another question to say use the definition of absolute value to, let's say, okay. So always absolute value should be what? Positive. So if I give you to say find absolute value of the following, x minus 2, okay, is equal to 4, like that. So then I give you another one, b, find the value of what? 2x, okay, then minus 3, like that, is equal to 7. The C one says find the value of x, or just solve the equation, because equation will involve equal sign. All right, so say 4x plus 5 absolute is equal to, let's say, -1. All right, so we are reporting this these answers. All right, so given this scenario, we can see x is not independent like I used to give you to say a inside or n value inside. No, this case is different. Now we said absolute value is positive or negative, right? It can be found on this side or this side of the number line, especially in a situation whereby you have equal sign meaning this side you have negative, this side you have positive. So we'll be using this definition. All right, so solutions. So using this definition, we'll say this should be equal to positive, should be equal to what? Negative, like that. Okay, so they should be equal like that. Okay, so now that we start with the first one, so we have absolute value of x minus 2, all right, is equal to what? 4, like that. So meaning that now that we have this equation, so how do we do it? We said it's positive or negative, right? So we'll report it, we are going to report it using what? Positive. So we said it's positive or negative. All right, so because it is equated, they have brought equal sign. So equal sign meaning that we have negative or positive. So we'll solve in both scenarios for this case. Okay, so I'll say now okay, I'll say this is positive or negative minus 2x, like that, inside, then is equal to what? 4, like that. So now that I can just divide to say this is positive 1 or negative 1. So the first one, I'll say it will go with a positive 1, so I'll just say negative 2 is equals to what? 4. Then the second one will go with x minus 2 absolute there. Since there was a negative which had remained, I'll just divide that negative throughout. All right, so I'll divide throughout by what? By a negative, like that, and also throughout by what? By a negative, or just multiply by a negative. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so these ones will cancel, then the negative will be there. So this will be x minus 2, all right, absolute, like that, is equal to what? -4. Okay, so you only do this, and let me have forgotten one stage that you need to be very much aware of. Okay, so once you bring this positive or negative, now you continue saying this. In fact, I was supposed to say at this stage okay, so at this stage now we are solving this one. At this stage now, once you bring the issue of positive or negative, you say now it can be positive or negative, open bracket, of what you have there. All right, is equal to what? 4, like that. So after doing this you get the other one with a positive, so this will just remain like that, is equal to what? 4. And this one will just be negative x minus what? 2 is equal to what? 4. You can distribute its negative, or you divide, or you multiply throughout by what? By negative, so that you cancel this negative, will be positive there. So this will be x minus 2 is equal to what? -4. You have seen what you have done? Then here to be just direct, all right, is equals to 4. So when you solve here, x will give us what? 4 plus 2, which is x is equals to what? 6. Okay, then here x is equal to what? You take that 4 to the other side, now it will be positive, meaning that our answer will be what? -2, like that. So the solution set, how you report your solution set, is now to say the answers are now what? You put the least one here, which is the negative, then the bigger number, which is now what? Positive, like that. So this is the solution set that you should have when you have such things. So that's about absolute values. So it is either positive or negative. So when you have equation there, it's equated to something, meaning that you now bring positive or negative concept. Okay, because they have given even the equal to say it was positive or negative, so you try on the other side and also try on the other side to see where it was valid. Okay, so the distance meaning that it was now from negative 6 to what, to, since the value here we saw to say it is negative 2 to 6. All right, so when you plot on the number line there, here it says it's negative 2, here it's what, 6. So this was the distance. All right, so when you get this distance, the difference, all right, so you get 2 minus what, minus this, minus the initial, then you'll be able to what, to see the value. Okay, so that's about absolute values. Very simple concept. We just have to master and understand. For this case, we understand. Okay, so going to the other question now, it's the same thing. So I'll just start at the first step. So I'll say plus or minus, open bracket, 2x, all right, minus 3 is equal to what, 7. So we said is they have brought the issue of equal sign, meaning that there is negative, all right, and what, and positive. All right, so we'll start on the positive one, positive side or negative, whatever, whichever you want. So I'll start with a positive one. I won't show the positive. I'll just say this is my 2x minus 3 is equal to 7. Then the other one will be now negative, open bracket, 2x minus 3 is equal to what, 7. So when I do the need if now here, I'll have 2x, then 3 will go to the other side. That will be 7 plus what, 3, which is now 2x is equals to 10. All right, so divide by 2, so x is now equal to what, 5. So here now I will just divide, you multiply throughout by negative, this one will cancel, so this will be 2x minus 3, then here it will be negative what, 7, when you multiply throughout by negative on both sides. So once you are done this, now you group the right terms. This will be 2x is equal to that will be now negative 7 plus 3, which is negative 4. All right, you divide throughout. So once you divide throughout, then you're going to have x is equals to what, negative 2. This is why I'm telling you to say absolute value will be negative or positive. So we have positive sign and also negative sign where it was ranging. All right, so that value of x on a number line. So now you present your solution set as what, you present your solution set as negative 2. You start with at least 1, then 5, like that. You don't know where they were, and so you can't put the curly brackets. So this is the solution sets. That's the reason why on a number right now it was something like negative 2, then to 5. So that value, that was our a absolute value from here to there. All right, it is positive or negative. We want the that value. That's why we put in this range, so that we can have what, the positive one in a situation whereby we have just a constant number like that. We need to have a positive number. Okay, so that's about absolute values. So let's go to the other one, to the last one. Okay, so the last one now will give us the absolute value of a number. So I won't even, so we always want absolute value to be positive number, because it's what, it's the range. All right, is the distance measured. So now that this thing is equated to a negative number, and we said is the distance, so a distance can't be negative, so we can't have a situation whereby we are equating this absolute value to a negative number. No, absolute value is not equal to what, negative, okay, or just less than 0. Absolute value is the distance, so a distance can be reported in what, in negative. So this is long. This is long, and if you find this, don't even try to solve such questions. So go and practice more questions on the in the tutorial sheets. All right, thank you very much for watching the video. See you in the next video. All right.